Hey, well, hello and welcome everyone. We're back. This is episode 8 of Pull on the Call. My name is Mandy Mack, and I'm here with.
Chris Rivers.
And today we are super excited to interview Fran of Body by Fran and learn a little bit more about her coaching and her background as a pole coach and all the wonderful things that she's done with her pole career. Thank you so
Hey
much for
everyone.
joining us.
It's an honor to be here. I'm so excited.
Yes. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Yes. So do you want to start off just telling us a bit about your pole history and what made you start pole dancing?
Absolutely. About 9 years ago now, I was watching the Oprah Winfrey Show, and Terry Hatcher was on, and she was talking about pole dance. Now, I've been a fitness professional at that point for like 25 years, and she was saying it was a great workout. So I'm like, I've got to look into this. There wasn't much around me in New Jersey at the time, so I drove a little over an hour up to North Jersey and jumped into my first pole class, and I was hooked. Even though I was bruised and I felt like a bull in a china shop, I tried to muscle my way through everything. I just thought it was so fun and so much more than a workout, and I really enjoyed it.
And then you were hooked.
And then I was hooked. Yeah, and it just really took off from there. I started teaching within maybe that first year. I was competing within that first year. It just blew up. It was an obsession.
Nice. And then what were you doing before that? Were you doing any sort of like fitness or dance or anything like that?
I come from a bodybuilding background. So in the mid 90s, after having two kids, I found myself wanting to exercise. And, the extreme person that I am, I got into bodybuilding and competing in women's fitness and became a personal trainer and a group fitness instructor and then a strength and conditioning coach. I've worked with Rutgers football and I've worked with competitive bodybuilders. So I take everything to the nth degree. And that's what led me up to it. So I had been in the fitness industry for so many years and really just loving movement. I'm not a dancer. I did dance when I was like 6, 7 years old, but I quit because I really only wanted to wear the blue eyeshadow in the recitals. I really didn't enjoy the dancing so much. So
But now the dancing is a little bit more fun.
it is. I'm still not a very good dancer, and I still enjoy performing, really just for the blue eyeshadow, but I'm a little bit more of an athletic performer. So if anyone goes to my YouTube channel, Frances Ann, you'll see I do perform more. I try to describe it as like, ta-da, look what I can do. I'm not very flowy.
I understand that.
But I so.
We would definitely add a YouTube link to the comments below so they can have access to that. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. So, Chris, you want to hit her with another question?
Sure. So a question people were wondering about, they're always wondering, your favorite pole trick and or your problem trick that you remember.
Okay, yeah. I'll start with my favorite because I love a good shoulder mount plank, and I've worked really hard to be able to do it with the legs straight out. Coming from a bodybuilding background, I'm very strong in my upper body, and once I figured out what muscles really need to activate for that trick, it became so easy for me. I also like hands deadlifts and iron X's and flags, but I think the shoulder mount plank is really my favorite because it wows the audience when you come down in it and everyone goes, oh. And that's me. Ta-da. Nemesis or least favorite, I'm going to say tricks, because anything bendy. I do work on mobility and flexibility, but at 54, like it's tough for me to even get into a good ballerina spin sometimes. So, Gennaro, my back is never going to like that. I could watch people do an eagle. Oh, That's never going to be on the table for me. So those are the kind of things that, I wish that I could do, but I know what my body can do and can achieve. And that's not something I'm willing to really work that hard for. So.
That's awesome. Knowing your body and knowing when, yep, I'm good with that.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that too. Yeah, because a lot of times people will come in and they're like, oh, they just assume that, because you're a teacher, you can do all of the tricks. But I appreciate that you brought that up, because not all the tricks are for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. We have to look at lever length when we're looking at tricks too. I tend to watch a lot of men and Chinese pole, and men tend to have longer arms a lot of the time. And on top of that, upper body strength. But I'll look at a trick and wonder why I can't do it. And I've got shorter arms and a tinier frame. So biomechanically, it may not work. Right. So we have to look at that too, so don't get so discouraged if you're trying tricks and they're just not working on your body. They just might not be for you.
Yeah. And there's like a bazillion other tricks, so it really doesn't matter.
Absolutely. So many fun things.
Yes. And so you talked a little bit about competing. Do you still compete, or?
My last competition was November of 2019, and I did the artistic level 5 at the PSO Northeast, and then the world shut down, so that kind of stopped. I competed for a while, and it was my goal to turn pro by age 50, and I did it at 48. And I've competed with all the younger polars, and I actually got to go to World Pole Art in Italy and got the silver medal in the Masters Elite category. So that was like the defining moment, I think, was to get to do that. And traveling and competing is challenging, especially with jet lag. So it was a really exciting moment for me.
That is awesome.
Hell yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, that makes me want to add one more question.
Shoot.
Well, because I recently decided to train for World Pole, and I'm super excited but super nervous. What advice or tips would you give myself or anyone else who wants to go for that hardcore endeavor?
Yeah, it's a big stage, so be prepared to be nervous. It's okay. I had tears before I went on stage. My nerves were that big that day. If you are traveling, especially internationally, prepare. If you can get there early to get rid of the jet lag and sort of settle in, I would highly advise that. I did not. I got in on a Friday night and rehearsed, and then Sunday morning performed, and I was all over the place. So it was definitely a challenge. If you can get there, like I said, a little early, prepare yourself, get used to the area, the time change, feed yourself well, rest before, and then just have fun. You're going to meet so many people. It's such an awesome opportunity. And sometimes on the international stage, people are nervous and they may not be as open and friendly, but that's okay. Afterwards, everybody's a little happier.
Definitely. Thank you.
Excellent. And so, what would you say was your favorite moment in your pole career?
I think pole art, World Pole Art Championships was definitely up there. And getting that medal put on you, and then afterwards talking to the judges and having them say, how thrilled and stunned they were with my performance. So I think that was it. So
yes. Love it. And I also love that, like as pole dancers are getting older, and you mentioned, competing against the younger ones, sometimes it's intimidating because they have, much more energy than we do.
Yes.
But it's good to know that, like, with the perseverance and everything, you can still, pole at any age. You can win medals at any age.
Absolutely. I have had the honor of sharing stage in competition with Ashley Fox. And we all know, she is just badass, fearless. She is the kindest, most wonderful person. And that's intimidating. But, I know when I look at it, wow, she's awesome. That's A, not my style of pole, and B, I could be her mom. So I have to try to put things in perspective, and it's okay. I'm happy with my placings. Would I like to place higher? Yeah, wouldn't we all? But it's okay. I'm so grateful that I have this opportunity to use this body and to share what I love at that level and with those people. It's awesome.
Yes. Excellent. Okay, Chris, do you have another question?
I do. Do you have any, I guess, conditioning tips or tidbits you would give people, especially, I guess, beginner tidbits or even advanced tidbits?
Yeah, my whole business revolves around creating solid foundations of strength and conditioning before advancing in pole. So I developed the Pole Strong method of training, which really looks at those foundational elements and designs conditioning programs towards the goals or the tricks that you want to do. So I would say for the beginner, really start focusing on basic conditioning, whether you're in the gym or you're on the pole. Don't just expect to go to pole class once or twice a week and everything to fall into place. It is a demanding activity. And I think that's why a lot of beginners stop, because they get sort of to a sticking point and they can't push past that. And it really does require some more conditioning work after that. When you look at elite level athletes, they are conditioning off the pole and on the pole as well, especially during competition time. Advanced polers, just keep checking your form on things. If you're seeing that something looks like it's struggling or it's not looking so strong, come back to your basic conditioning drills. And I always condition for at least 15-20 minutes before I start poling. That's just me. But doing something, I'm conditioning now 3 days a week on pole and before I start my training. And it's important at every level just to set that foundation and get the proper muscle engagement to move forward.
Definitely. I'm so glad you talked, because many of us, especially when I started, wanted to learn trick. Some tricks I wasn't ready for. And now years later, my body is like, why the hell did you do that?
Absolutely. Chris, I can totally relate to that. Oh my gosh. I started muscling into everything. And I think I was maybe 6 months into poling and I was doing a twisted grip handspring. Wow. I was strong. I just hung from that top arm and flipped myself up. And like, why does my shoulder hurt all the time? And it took me really years to figure out what I needed to do. And I took my strength and conditioning coaching background and then applied that to pole and really made changes in myself and in the students in my pole classes and my one-on-one clients. And that's really why I'm here sharing all of this now, because it was like a game changer. Yes. That you don't have to get injured and you can slow it down and progress into these more advanced tricks and really nail them. It doesn't have to be all the things right now, right?
Yes. Yeah, and one thing about your Instagram page, I love following all of your tips and everything. If you want to follow it, it's Body by Fran on Instagram. Yep. But you always, the ones I really appreciate are like the ones where you show, like, if you want to do this trick, then you'll need to do this. And I love those because it really like explains like the things you need to get first before you can go into those tricks. And Absolutely. It's really just doing the things.
Yeah, you have to do it, and I like to repeat moves in those little posts that I do, because there's so many different ways to condition for a move. So I don't want you to think that you can only do this exercise to condition for this. There's so much that you can do, and looking at the different muscle groups. So I really like to try to educate people and give y'all something that you can take away from that and use on your own and get a little bit of what the Pole Strong method is.
Love it.
Yeah, and your conditioning exercises, at least the ones that you posted for free on your Instagram, are so inspiring too. And I have to say, like I've used a few of them in my classes,
Oh,
and
very
I'll
good.
always let everyone know where I got them from for sure.
Thank you. I appreciate that. So if anyone listening, I have my whole body power up free challenge going on now, and I'm posting all of the exercises in the challenge in my story highlights on Instagram, so you can use those and have them and create a 10 exercise pole conditioning workout for yourself.
Love it. Yes, that's incredible.
Hell yeah.
Awesome.
So I have another question about your favorite style of pole.
Okay. Chinese pole.
Chinese pole.
Yeah, I started polling, and one of my first teachers was Carol Helms, and it was all sexy style, and I was putting the heels on, and I felt like a bull in a china shop, and a baby giraffe. I'm like, why doesn't this work for me? And then, I was just perusing through YouTube, and I saw these Chinese pole acrobats in the circus, and I went, oh, I need this in my life. Oh my God, I just love that style, feet on the pole, strength, tumbling. So I'm enamored by that. And I've had the awesome opportunity to train with a couple of Cirque du Soleil acrobats, Alberto Del Campo and Evgeny Kirkin. And I actually got to perform in a virtual competition on Chinese pole. I grip wrapped my pole and I did a whole performance, but it was for Cleo's Rockin' Pole, and I was the only one in clothes. So I'm sure I probably was last place in that competition, but it was so much fun to do it. It didn't even matter.
That is just amazing. I've seen Chinese pole videos and I'm just like, oh, MG, my poor body. So just that you like went for it, that's just so incredible and inspiring.
It's my joy.
Yes. Yes. Right. There's so many different types of pole, and like Chinese pole is not one that you could really see too often offered where you could like learn lessons.
Yeah.
Right.
At least around here that I've noticed, but it does seem really fun. But Chris, do you have another question?
At this moment, I do not. I am just looking
I have
back. You want to go ahead?
Yeah, I have a few more.
Yeah.
You talked a little bit about the other types of fitness you enjoy, like the bodybuilding. Do you like, and you said that you do conditioning like 3 times a week, but can you let us know a little bit more about like your fitness regimen? Like, do you do Pilates, yoga, anything else?
Um, I used to teach yoga actually many years ago. I have done so many things. Cardio, kickboxing, yoga, spinning, aerobics, step, boxing. Right now, though, my personal program is 3 days of pole conditioning, and I'm doing the workouts that I developed for my new program, Full Body Boot Camp. So, I always do what I share with everyone else. I also like to hit the gym 3 days a week and lift. So I'll have to schedule that around my pole conditioning so that I'm not overtraining the shoulders or, getting closer to injury. I love a good leg day, so I love the gym for that. I do mobility, flexibility work maybe twice a week, 30 minutes to an hour. I probably should do it more, but again, I'm a strength person, not my focus. Yeah, so that's it. I take one full rest day a week, and if my body needs it, I'll add more. I've been doing it for so long that I can tell I get cranky. If I'm a little bitchy, I'm like, oh, I'm overtired. I probably should take a rest day.
Excellent.
I'm so glad you mentioned your boot camp program because that reminded me of a question. What are the programs or courses you may offer that we can definitely link down in the comments and they can.
Absolutely. Right now, I have two self-paced courses that people can enroll in, and they are Inverts Lab, which is a conditioning and technique program to nail those inverts without jumping. And I have Handsprings 101 True Grip. So many people struggle with that True Grip handspring. And this, again, is a conditioning-based program with technique tips to help you really nail that True Grip handspring. My baby, though, my signature program that's starting in February and will be starting to enroll next week is Pole Body Boot Camp. And this is a 12-week total body transformation. So you'll get stronger for pole. You'll feel better in your skin, just have more energy and feel like putting those little pole clothes on and jumping into class and showing off what you can do. It'll be 3 workouts a week for 12 weeks with weights and pole and bands and built-in rest and recovery. But the best part of it is coaching with me. So we'll be doing live coaching calls where I'll be doing little educational tidbits about overtraining and injury prevention, nutrition for polars, all kinds of great information. And everyone that signs up will get a chance to talk with me live like we're doing now and ask questions. And then we can tailor those programs a little more to everyone's personal goals and fitness. So I'm really excited about it, and I can't wait to get started with it.
That is so exciting. Are you marketing it on your page? So we can definitely share it on our stories and posts.
Yes, I am. And I'll actually give you a link for people to sign up for my email list as well, so they can get that information delivered right to their inbox and they don't have to look for it on Instagram.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I know you're based out of New York City, right?
No, I was in New
Wow.
Jersey and I moved
Ah.
last year. I am in coastal South Carolina right now. And so
Oh, wow.
my husband and I retired. Well, I retired from teaching high school and now I'm doing this full time. So.
Nice. I was going to ask you what other things you might do in your spare time, but this is just it now then.
Yeah, this is it now. Yeah,
Yes.
I was a school science teacher for 14 years and taught AP Bio and Anatomy and Physiology and all kinds of fun stuff. And I'm over it. The pandemic really was quite challenging with high school kids. So I retired and now I'm just blessed to be able to do this full time and to share everything that I love with everyone.
Nice. And is it just like the online coaching, or do you have like a home-based studio, or?
I am only doing online coaching right now. My studio is in my home, but I'm no longer. And when I was in New Jersey, I was traveling all over New Jersey and Pennsylvania and teaching live. But if anybody's interested in having me to their studio for workshops, look me up.
For sure. All right. I think I have just one more question. Unless, Chris, you have another one.
We've talked, I guess, so much about pole. What are your hobbies besides pole dancing?
My hobbies besides pole dancing. Well, I moved to the beach, so I love walking on the beach. I love, now that I live in the South, I post in my stories all the time. I love alligator spotting. So they're all over down here. So I just go looking for them because I think they're the most amazing creatures. I am kind of a foodie, even though I tend to eat really healthy. I love to find new restaurants, and there's a lot of it down here. But mostly, I'm a workaholic, so some days my neighbors are like, "We didn't see you." I'm like, I've been in the studio all day.
Oh, well, what are some of your plans for the future when it comes to pole?
Yes.
I am hoping that I get chosen to perform at PoleCon this year. I'm definitely going to go either way. And I also applied to teach some workshops there. So if anybody's looking and I get chosen, come see me and play with me. And as far as besides that, it's really just bringing these programs to polars who need it. So many people out there just don't really get the conditioning in their studios or in their home pole training. So I'm just out here working my butt off, making the best programs for everyone to get you all stronger for pole.
Yes, love it.
Yes. Well, I think that's all the questions I had for Fran. Do you have any others, Chris? Or...
Um, I think that's all I could think of from myself and from listeners that good. We'll have all, can we get all your links and everything just for the comment?
Absolutely.
Ask for that.
Yep.
Anything you want to say to any pollers, anything at all, beginner, advanced, before we leave, like anything.
If you're just starting out, stick with it. Condition your body, take your time. There's no fire. You don't need to nail a specific trick to be anything. You won't arrive at some magical level ever. You're just going to move into the next area where you feel like you suck again compared to everyone else. So it's okay. Keep going, keep enjoying the journey, and listen to the podcast for information and check out Body by Fran training for conditioning.
Yeah. Love it.
Perfect. Love it so much. Thank you so much for just inspiring everyone. I know the first time I saw you was at a PSO competition, and I just thought you were so amazing. And then I ended up taking a class with you at Body and Pole, and you probably don't remember it. It was so long ago. But I was like, yay! And then just getting to like speak with you, it's really awesome.
I'm honored. Thank you so much for having me. I really love what you're doing, and I really appreciate that you're out there helping the pole community. And we need more people like you doing this.
For sure.
All right. Thank you so much, guys. This is so fun.
Yes. Thank you so much, Fran, for taking the time.
You're welcome. Happy polling.
Yes. Enjoy the rest of your week.
You too. Bye-bye.